Andy Johnson, Minnesota State University. This is another demonstration of how to read a research study and how to identify and record the salient elements. Now, I chose this study. It's a 1990 study by Mary Ellen Warble, I think that is, for a number of reasons, but it's pretty easy to see the basic elements that you look for in a research study. You always look at the abstract first to give you a sense of what the study is about. The purpose of the study was to examine the quality of writing of second and sixth graders who were taught by two different writing approaches, whole language and traditional. And then the findings. Second graders who are taught by teachers using the whole language approach produce better writing samples when evaluated on meaning and content. All right, that's the major finding. And we'll go over these other ones here, but that gives me a sense of it. Now, this literature review I found very interesting, a lot of good stuff there. But the initial reading, I did not look at this. I wanted to see what it was. But the literature review sets the study in a theoretical context and makes a case for it. So I found this very good, very good. In my copy at home, I have it all marked up and I read. All right. So here's what I did. Then I went right down to the purpose. In the study, now the abstract gave me a sense. It's like a pre-reading activity. I examined writing samples to assess the quality of writing of second and sixth graders who are taught by whole language and traditional approaches. All right. Her method, she identified teachers who had used one of two writing approaches. So she looked at classrooms in 4 different counties in Indiana, and she gave a questionnaire. And based on that questionnaire, she determined that this is a whole language teacher and this is a traditional approach teacher. Total numbers, that is interesting, 248, 120 second graders, 128 sixth graders, and broken down pretty evenly. All right. She gave a writing instruction information sheet where she identified them, and that's included there. All right. And all the students in the study participated in a 45-minute session that included 15 minutes for pre-writing activity and 30 minutes for writing. I was the teacher for all students in all this study. In the study. It took me a while to get my head around that, but what she looked at, she collected data in May. And she identified writing samples for students who had had a whole language teacher or a traditional teacher the whole school year from August to May. All right, so that was the treatment or the conditions. They were with a teacher who was in one of the two, and obviously we can't control for a lot of variables here, but it is an interesting study nonetheless. All right, and I was the teacher for all the students. She was the teacher who went and administered the writing, the 45-minute, the writing sample. All right, she did that. Samples were collected in May. All subjects had been exposed to the teaching method for the same length of time. That was for the school year. All right. And she talked about different variables controlling and that sort of thing. And that's good stuff. I read that after I got finished with it. All right. Significance, statistical significance at the 0.05 level. Okay, very good. Results. And again, this is how you initially read a study. Different effects between the written samples of the subjects taught by the traditional approach and those taught by whole language approach were of major importance to this study. All right. Whole year, she collected a writing sample, and that sample was sent off to evaluators who evaluated both the content and the writing mechanics. The results of the statistical test for the quality of the content of second graders revealed a significant difference in favor of the whole language over traditional. So in terms of quality for second grade, favored whole language. Mechanics, no difference for second graders. Quality for sixth graders, no difference, significant difference. And mechanics for sixth graders, no difference. So a discussion. In this study, second grade students who are taught by whole language approach produce better writing samples when evaluated on content. Now notice, you always describe research in a past tense because it describes a particular instance in time. And she's not saying this proves, because research doesn't prove anything. It supports or does not support a hypothesis. Okay, and no difference was found in the mastery of mechanics in any of the second or sixth grade groups. Okay, good. Now, in this discussion, here's stuff you don't get if you only focus on the numbers, and this is interesting stuff. This is before writing, students in every class asked if the stories would be graded. When I assured the students that the stories would not, they were eager to begin the writing. And this is the writing sample. The students wanted reassurance that the stories would be returned so that they could share them with their classmates and parents. All right, this tells us something interesting. It helps us understand this could be the qualitative sense of the research, but these are more anecdotal comments, but I think they're very interesting and important observations. Okay, once that was done, then I went on to record the things. Here I recorded the citation, and you record this in a literature log or someplace else so that you can remember the study without having to go look at it again. I can use this to write a quick annotated bibliography. This is the question that Joe's student was selected for their research. The question of this study, are whole language approaches to teaching writing more effective than traditional teaching? All right, that was the question. I could have added mechanics and quality. Subjects, you get a sense of that. All right, treatment, regular writing for 1 year, whole language or traditional, samples collected in May. Notice how I use short, abbreviated sentences. That's just fine. Measures, analyze writing samples, rating for quality and mechanics. Researcher collected all of them. It was a 45-minute session. Conclusions, and here it is. Second grade, quality, difference favoring whole language. Mechanics, no. Six, no. No. Limitations, do not know what kind of instruction students had before entering sixth grade, don't know the teaching effectiveness of teachers, know nothing about context, SES status, culture, and so on. All right, so that is a quick, simple demonstration of how you examine a research article, how you read it, and then how you record the salient elements.